Welcome everybody to the Handicapping Weekender for the weekend of March 30th and 31st. We have quite a few stakes races this weekend, starting off at Gulfstream Park for their big stakes day. And the first race I'd like to look at is Gulfstream Park Race 12, the Florida Derby Grade 1 Stakes race. This looks like it's going to shake out to be a really nice race with a few betting interests. So let's start right from the top. We have Shanghai Bobby coming from the one post. Just got beat in the Holy Bull last race by It's My Lucky Day, who was also in this race coming from the 3 post. And quite honestly, Shanghai Bobby actually looks like the horse to beat. And, you know, there is going to be some pace in the race. It looks like Merit Man, the 8 horse, stretching out from some sprints, looks to have the early lead. I expect Shanghai Bobby probably to sit second or third, wait to make his move, pounce, and roll through the stretch. As you know, if we look at his first race, Shanghai Bobby that is, first race back in the Holy Bull, he wasn't exactly clear at the quarter and half. He seemed to have someone hanging on him, which I think gave It's My Lucky Day a little bit of a pace advantage. And I don't expect him to have that type of advantage today. We're going into the Florida Derby. I expect Merit Man to, take the lead. He's going to be stretching out. Shanghai Bobby to sit second, just waiting to make his move. We'll have It's My Lucky Day, probably fairly up close. Probably won't want to let Shanghai Bobby get too far away. So it looks like those are my top 2 contenders. But another horse we can take a look at is the 6 horse, Orb, coming out of Shug McGahee's barn, being ridden by John Velasquez. And quite honestly, if his previous race in the Fountain of Youth, they went pretty fast for the quarter and half. 23 flat, 45 and 2. I mean, it made a nice closing move, won by a length and a half at 5-1. I mean, this horse seems to be getting better at the right time. He's, moving up. He's won his last 3. He's on a nice roll. There seems to be a pretty good amount of speed on paper. So I think Orb will have a little bit of pace to run into. Not sure if he's going to make it there, especially with Shanghai Bobby. Definitely the horse to beat. Probably the horse to catch going into the stretch. Looks like he'll just sit and go. And for the 3, It's My Lucky Day. This seems to be a little bit tougher spot than the Holy Bull. And I think there's just a few better horses in this particular race that he's going to have to contend to. I don't expect any of these horses to be fair shakes as far as odds, so this may be a race that you want to pass. One horse that I was looking at as possibly a nice long shot is the 5, Frack Daddy. Making his second start off the layoff. Looks like he's going to be improving, retraining really well. We can go back to his maiden win, where he got a 91 buyer, won by 9. All in all, that could probably turn out to be an 80, 82 buyer in that particular race, but seems to be looking pretty good. The Jockey Club Grade 2 Stakes at Churchill, not a particularly fast pace, but seemed to, battle pretty well down the stretch. Ended up finishing second by a neck. Not terribly fast, but definitely a nice race. So if you're looking for a little bit longer price horse, you don't want to play any of these lower price ones, Frack Daddy might be a nice horse to use either underneath, or if you just want to do a small win bet, it would head that direction and go from there. But I think for myself, my pick would be Shanghai Bobby to take it and win. Okay, the next race I'd like to take a look at is the Louisiana Derby, which is the 9th race at Fairgrounds. Pretty large field. We're looking at 14 horses in this particular field today. And what we'll do is we'll just start off from the front part of the page here. And the first horse I'd like to take a look at is Palace Malice, then coming from the 2 post. Making his 3rd start off a layoff. Seems to be in money every race. Just ran a nice race at Fairgrounds in the Risen Star Grade 2 Stakes race, finishing 3rd by a half a length. Made a really nice move coming from the three-quarter mark in, and picked up a few lengths. Didn't quite get there, but looks like a really strong race that he's coming out of. We have Edgar Prado up as the jockey, Todd Fletcher as the trainer. And this looks like this horse could be a nice contender in this particular race. So the next horse would be the 3-horse Revolutionary. A little bit of a layoff here. Broke its maiden, winning by 8 lengths, and then just got up in the Withers Grade 3 stakes race at Aqueduct. Shipping down to Fairgrounds. Not sure how this particular horse will fare, although it is another Fletcher horse ridden by Castellano. Looks to be another decent contender. Probably will be the favorite from what I'm seeing here. Just because shipping down from New York, I expect him to take a little bit more money than some of the other horses in this particular race. The next horse that I think could make a nice case for is the 7, Departing. Seems to be on a roll. Won all 3 of its races that he's been in. 2 of them happen to be at Fairgrounds. One is 6 furlong race and then a mile and 70. Shipped over to Houston, won a mile race there, and now is coming back. Definitely moving up in class. Broke its maiden, ran in an optional claiming 50,000 race, never won one, and then ran over in Houston in the Texas Heritage 50,000 stakes race. Probably be a little bit longer price. I probably would not take more than 6 or 7 to 1 on this particular horse, but definitely moving up in class. Seems to be on a roll. Going to be stretching out. You want to get probably a little bit more value on this particular horse because of that, but definitely one I would keep an eye on. And then we come to the 8-horse Code West, ridden by Martin Garcia and trained by Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert seems to be pretty hot right now with a lot of his stakes caliber horses coming up into the Kentucky Derby. One thing that concerns me is it's the last race in the Risen Star. Seemed to be kind of battling the whole way around the track there. Ended up with a 94 buyer. Kind of concerns me that this horse could possibly be over based on that particular race. Only still a non-winner, has only won 1 race, has 3 seconds and 2 thirds in the record there. Making his 3rd start off a layoff. Could make a case for him. A little bit worried about that last race. I'm not sure if I'd want to take him at 9-2 or less. Just my particular feeling on that. One horse that looks like that could be something nice, although it's only been running in sprint races, is the 10 Titletown 5, trained by Wayne Lucas and ridden by John Court. Definitely going to be stretching out. Probably the pace setter in this particular race simply because he's been sprinting. Not sure if John's going to try to take a hold of him here, but you should probably just let him run and see what happens. Could be a nice long shot if you're into speed and you think this horse can carry it all the way to a mile and an 1/8. The furthest he's gone is 7 furlongs, won that by 9 lengths going away. Last race at Oaklawn, a stakes race, a sprint stakes race. Battled most of the way, ended up finishing 2nd as the favorite. Not too excited about that particular race. That horse could actually be over, especially stretching out at this particular distance. A couple actually long shots that kind of caught my eye are the 13 and 14. We'll start off with the 13, Ground Transportation. Broke its maiden in a maiden special weight at Fairgrounds at a mile and 70. Came back at a mile and 70 at Fairgrounds again, won by 3 lengths as a favorite in both of those particular races. Going to be stretching out. Looks like 20 to 1 on the morning line, so you should get a decent price if you're looking for a few bombs and you don't like some of these other mediocre priced horses, some of the ones that I mentioned before. Definitely a horse to keep an eye on. Has been in the money every race. Only won 3 races, but has 2 wins, 1 second. Going to be moving up in class, but if you're willing to take that chance, might be something that you want to put under in some exotics or possibly the pick 3, pick 4. And like also the 14, Nina's Dragon, shipping in from Golden Gate, and actually ran at a mile and an 1/8 there. Made a huge move coming in into the stretch. It was 6 by 8. Ended up being 4th by 1 at the, it looks like the mile marker, mile and 16th. Finishing 2nd by about 4 lengths. So pretty nice move there. I'm kind of curious about the shipping in for this particular race. I'm not sure why this particular race kind of fancied the trainer here, but sticking with the same rider, we can pretty much get the distance. I'm not sure about winning, but could be a nice long price as a long shot. Something you might want to throw a little bit of money on if you're interested in that, or possibly putting underneath in your exotics. So good luck. Okay, moving on to the fourth race at Gulfstream Park, the Rampart Grade 3 Stakes race. We're going 1 1/8 miles on the main track. And this, honestly, to me, looks like a Fletcher race here. We have the 1, Ciao Bella. Certainly the horse to beat. Definitely not going to offer any value. You may want to concede the race and look for a couple horses to put underneath in the exotics to maybe to pick up a little coin there. Fletcher's other horse, the 5, Authenticity, just won a optional $25,000 claiming race, never won one. Ran away in that race, won by 17 lengths. Definitely a huge win. This horse actually looked like it could be something back before that year layoff there, back in 2011. Won a maiden stakes race for $59,000. Came in second in an allowance race. Then we hadn't seen him in all of 2012. Came back on the 21st of January at Gulfstream Park at 1 mile. Ended up finishing third as the favorite, beaten by about 1.25 lengths. Wheeled back on the 14th of February at Gulfstream again at 1 1/16 miles, and that's the race he ran away in. It looks like this horse certainly moving up in class, but could actually be a decent contender. The 82 buyer there in particular kind of doesn't seem that large, especially for such a large win in that particular race. Fractions were pretty decent, 24-1, 47-2. Definitely a nice horse. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to move up and win in this particular field here. I do think Ciao Bella, certainly, like I said before, the horse to beat. Probably will not have any value, especially being 8-5 on the line. So I'm going to concede the race to that particular horse. But another one that I've been looking at is Successful Song. Definitely looks like the second best horse in the field, although going off 9-5 on the morning line. Will definitely be in the hunt. Those two 95 buyers certainly put him in the mix for a win in this particular race. All the other horses I'm not particularly worried about. The 2, the 4, and the 6 I kind of crossed out. I haven't crossed out the 5 because I don't expect this horse to win. It looks like a 2-horse race between the 1 and the 3. I don't see much value here. Maybe a race that you want to watch and just pass, not bet. But in any case, I'm going to go with the 1. If you bet, good luck, and we're moving on to the next race. Okay, the 8th race at Gulfstream Park, the Gulfstream Park Oaks Grade 2 Stakes race. A few really nice horses in this race, and I think it's going to be set up to be a pretty hotly contested race. We'll start off from the front. We actually have the number 2, Original Script. Been showing some speed. I expect to be on the front. Live Lively, the 3-horse, also been showing some speed. Could be up front pressing the pace or possibly taking the lead by the half. We also have the 1, Cue the Moon, shipping in from New York. Ran a very fast race at 1 mile at Aqueduct. Definitely has the ability to, in this particular company, to run a nice race. Don't really expect it to win. I think there's just a little bit too much speed in this particular race for that horse to go all the way, especially being said for the 2 and 3 as well. I think if they happen to get into a speed duel, I see a couple of the horses coming from sitting in the second flight, making their move, coming into the stretch and overtaking these horses. And I think the horse in this race to beat would be Dreaming of Julia, ridden by John Velasquez, trained by Todd Fletcher, making her second start off the layoff. Going to be pretty low at the morning line of 2-1. I don't expect very good odds on this particular horse. So I think I'm going to possibly look to try to beat her in this race. And the horse I think I'm going to go with is the 6, Emollient. Certainly has the potential. Has been getting some really nice trips. It's going to be ridden by Jose Lascano, trained by Bill Mott. Look at some of the running lines there. Seem to have a little bit of trouble breaking, being hemmed in by other horses, but once she gets the running room, definitely explodes through the stretch. And I think this is this particular horse I'm going to go with. Actually just won at Gulfstream on a sloppy track at 1 1/16. I don't think stretching out will be very difficult for her. Like I said, making the second start off the layoff, I expect this horse to actually improve a little bit. And in this particular race, I think the pace sets up really well for her. I think Dreaming of Julia is definitely the biggest competition in this particular race. I can see these two going head-to-head into the stretch. So I'm going to take the 6 over the 5, and good luck should you get involved in this race. Okay, the 9th race at Gulfstream Park, the Orchid Grade 3 Stakes race, going 1.5 miles on the turf. And the first horse I'd like to start out with is Star Former. Certainly looks like the horse to beat in this particular race. Out of 3 races at Gulfstream Park on the turf, it's got 2 wins and 1 second. 1 win and 1 second at the distance. Making second start off the layoff. Ran a really nice race last race, sitting looks like probably in the 2nd or 3rd flight, winning by a length. No, winning by 3 1/4 lengths. Seemed to be running in the clear, loomed 3 wide, made his move, and ran everybody down. That particular race was 1 3/8 miles. Definitely the horse to beat. We have a little bit of a jockey switch here from Edgar Prado to Rajit Mirage. I don't see that as a problem, so I think definitely this horse will take the most amount of money out of anybody in the race. The next horse I kind of keyed on is the 7. Actually was beaten by Star Former back in November of 2012, going 1.5 miles on the turf at Aqueduct, only finishing 3rd by 3/4 of a length. Took some time off, came back the 7th of March at Gulfstream Park at 1 3/8 miles on the turf. Ended up winning that by 4 lengths as the favorite, going off 3 to 5. That particular race was only an optional claiming race. Looks certainly like a prep race for this particular graded stakes race that we're in today. Certainly on the improve. Not sure about price, especially 3 to 1 in the morning line. Probably be the second choice in the betting pools when they race tomorrow. One horse that kind of piqued my interest was the 3. Coming off a layoff, certainly a little bit longer than I would like, from November of 2012 to tomorrow. Going with blinkers on, first time Lasix, Tom Albertrani training the horse. Certainly could be a long price, long shot here in case you're interested in that particular bet. A little bit nervous about the layoff, but I think that horse probably could run a decent race if given the chance. The next horse that kind of piqued my interest was the 8, Ange Green, making his second start off the layoff. Looks to improve. Actually ran a really nice race against Star Former last time out at 1 3/8 miles. Finally got moving coming into the stretch, was 4th by 7, ended up finishing 2nd by 3 1/4 lengths. Running line says angled out, came willingly down the stretch. Smaller field, 8-horse field, but I think this horse could be on the improve. With a 10 to 1 morning line, I think we could probably get a nice price on this particular horse. And finally, the last horse that I think we should be looking at is Irish Mission. 6 to 1 on the morning line. We probably could get a little bit of a price here. It's the only female in this race. Looks to be pretty dangerous. She was running against males last year at Woodbine and doing pretty well. I think making her second start off the layoff, this last race that she had run in, the optional claiming $100,000 race, finishing 2nd by a length, which is a beautiful race after a layoff from September of 2012 to February of 2013. So I think this horse could be pretty dangerous in this race. So I personally am going to go with the 6 in this race. I'm not really keen on the 5 and 7 simply because I don't think they're going to be overlays. I think the 3, a little bit because of the layoff, is kind of a bummer. So I'm going to be looking at the 6 and possibly the the 8 to improve a little bit and run some big races in today's and actually tomorrow's race. So should you get involved, good luck. Okay, the final race that we'll be taking a look at today is the 10th race at Gulfstream Park, the Skip Away Grade 3 Stakes race, going 1 mile and 3/16 on the main track. And I think what I'm going to do is start out with the 8 horse Take Charge Indy. Florida Derby winner in 2012, making probably the second start, what I would consider the second start off a layoff. Ran in the Dawn Handicap Grade 1 Stakes race, last race out. Finished third by 8 lengths. Sat second for most of the race. Didn't quite have that punch, I think simply because making that return after her last race being in November of 2012, having a few months off, coming back out. I think this horse should improve. I'm a little bit worried about stretching out from 1 mile and 1/8 to 1 mile and 3/16. If this horse is good enough, I think it could go all the way. Certainly be forward placed in this particular race. Morning line of 3-1, so I expect it to be possibly the favorite, probably second or third choice in this particular race. One horse I am actually really curious about is the favorite in the morning line at 5-2. The 9 horse, Cigar Street. Making second start off the layoff. Ran a beautiful race last time out in an optional claiming race, 62,000 at Gulfstream Park, going 1 mile and 1/8. Took the lead, ran away at 4-5. 2 for 2 at Gulfstream, so certainly looks like a decent spot for this horse. Definitely moving in the right direction as far as improving. Even before that, actually ran at the end of December at Gulfstream Park at 1 mile and 1/16, an optional claiming $25,000 race. Ended up getting a 94 buyer, winning by 2 lengths at 8-5. So I think this horse probably is the horse to beat. It is the now horse, moving in the right direction. I think another horse I would take a look at is the 3 Golden Ticket, making a third start off the layoff here. Shipping back in from Fairgrounds. It actually run at Gulfstream Park 2 races back at 1 mile and 1/16 and an optional claiming race of 62K. Won that race by 5 lengths as the 2-1 favorite. Ended up shipping over to Fairgrounds. Actually, that actually looks like a really nice race in the Mineshaft Grade 3 Stakes race, although not very fast. Ended up grabbing the lead into the stretch, couldn't hold on, finished third by a length. Beaten by Mark Valesky, who is probably horses for courses over at Fairgrounds, seems to be in the money every race over there. So I consider that a pretty good race. I expect this horse to be a fairly decent price, probably 4-1, 9-2. I don't really see it being more than 5 or 6-1. So something you want to take a look at, especially this horse actually is a Travers Grade 1 Stakes winner, dead heated in that race, ended up getting 100. And that was in August of 2012, going 1.25 miles at Saratoga. So there's definitely a few stakes winners in this race. You have the 1 horse, El Defer, who I think, although is an 8-year-old horse, still shows some life. Won at 1 mile and 3/16 at Delaware back in September of 2012. I don't think it's quite the horse that we've seen previously in the last couple years. Certainly getting older. Recent form doesn't look terribly good. So not a horse that I'm particularly worried about in this race. But another stakes winner that we do have in this race is Pants on Fire, who won the Louisiana Derby in 2011. Making his third start off a layoff. Has actually run at Gulfstream Park the last 2 races, won 1 mile and then another mile. Last mile was in the slop, seemed to relish it, won by 5 at 4-5. That particular race was an optional claiming race for 100 grand. Prior to that, actually ran in the Hal's Hope. After a little bit of a layoff there, ended up finishing third by a half a length at 5-1. Certainly a nice race. I expect this horse to run pretty well, but I think certainly the horse to beat in this race is the 9 moving forward. And although it's moving up in class, I think this is the horse to beat. If you're looking for some of the longer price horses, I may even look to the 3 and the 10. But I think for my money, I'm going to stick with Cigar Street. Should you get involved, good luck and have a great weekend.